so much, Elizabeth.
Now to a major development in the case of the so-called Gilgo Four, the four women whose bodies were found on a remote stretch of the Gilgo Beach in Long Island back in 2010. Prosecutors charged 60-year-old Rex Heuermann with 3 of those murders last summer, but never ever since then. The question's been, what about the 4th? She was Maureen Brainard-Barnes, who went missing in 2017. Like the other 3 women, she was found bound and wrapped in the same type of burlap fabric. And tonight, her family might be one step closer to getting justice. Prosecutors charged Heuermann with Brainard-Barnes' murder today, claiming evidence gleaned from a single hair tied him to the killing. In court documents today, investigators say Brainard-Barnes was found restrained by 3 leather belts. On the buckle of one of those belts, a human hair was discovered. New state-of-the-art DNA testing now says that that hair is a match to Asa Ellerup, Heuermann's now estranged wife. NewsNation correspondent Laura Ingle's been following this case from the very start. She joins us live from Riverhead, Long Island, outside of the court. Laura, what more are we learning from today's superseding indictment?
Hi, Elizabeth. Yeah, it was a packed courthouse today, and we're actually learning quite a bit of information from that bail document that you talked about. Investigators have been putting together information for well over a year, and today revealed a lot of that information in the court document that was presented to the public just before Rex Heuermann heard that charge today about the death of Maureen Brainard-Barnes. Now, Heuermann appeared before the judge in this case today. He was handcuffed behind his back. He did not look at the judge, interestingly enough, when the words were spoken out loud of Maureen Brainard-Barnes. He kind of averted his eyes down to the ground. Also, some of the victims' family members were in that courtroom watching his every move. And when Heuermann listened to that second-degree murder charge, Maureen Brainard-Barnes was only 25 years old at the time of her death. He really felt uncomfortable there. Heuermann was charged for the murders of the 3 victims back in July: Melissa Barthelemy, Megan Waterman, and Amber Costello. Investigators say Heuermann is the individual, and this is in black and white in the court document, who murdered, stripped, restrained, and transported the remains of all 4 to Gilgo Beach until the women's remains were discovered in 2010. And Maureen's sister, Melissa Kahn, and Maureen's daughter, who was only 7 years old at the time of her mother's disappearance, spoke after today's court proceedings.
Maureen was my older sister who was always there for me when I needed her. Maureen was inspired to be a writer, and she loved reading books. She was only 25 years old. She had her whole life ahead of her. Maureen would never get the chance to show the world how talented she was. Even though it was difficult for me, I'm doing this because I want her to be remembered as the loving mother she was.
And investigators say forensic testing was able to tie that hair you mentioned, found on one of the belt buckles, restraining Brainard-Barnes with near certainty to the DNA profile of Heuermann's wife, Asa Ellerup, and another hair to their adult daughter, Victoria, who were also here at court today. Investigators say the family was out of town at the time of the murders and were not involved. We've also learned, Elizabeth, that some of the searches found on the hundreds of electronic devices investigators seized of Heuermann's, included graphic, violent pornography, searches about the investigation, the victim's family, and hundreds of contacts with sex workers. Heuermann has pleaded not guilty. He is expected back here in court on February 6th. The grand jury is now done with the Gilgo 4 part of the investigation. They will now move forward to the other victims that were found along Ocean Parkway.
Yeah,
Elizabeth?
those internet searches, we'd already seen a lot of those graphic content in previous searches. We were just seeing more and more of those, as well as the search how to shred your internet search history. He went to a great deal of effort to try and cover his tracks. Laura, thank you so much for all your reporting live from the scene today. The court. Thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.